Hello everybody, what is going on? It's Jared. Are we live? We should be live. Anyway, so, it's just me flying solo today from the office. Greg is on a photo shoot, Ari is out and about recording something, and I am here to bring you guys some stuff. Not stuff as major as we normally do, because we are still working out the direction, the future, and everything like that for the website. Wave? People want me to wave? So I'm not going to spend too much time reading in the chat room at the beginning, because I want to go through a few different things today. No, these aren't new glasses, actually. These are my everyday glasses. The other one are computer glasses that blow everything up so I can see it. So last week, as you know, Greg and I did some live stuff from home because our tape show had a little bit of an issue. So we're still working out those kinks, and well, we want to get it right. We want to give you guys the best show that we can give you and bring you the best information and as often as possible. So with that said, we're thinking about doing an every other week show, which would be a better show. Whether it's live or taped, still haven't flipped that coin yet. Just trying to figure out what works the best for us in our workflow with how busy we are with keeping the site up and running and doing all the other work that we need to do for the site. We love doing the show. Gizzy, you guys have been asking about where Gizzy is. Gizzy's taking a little bit of break. He's gearing up for his wedding because he's going to be getting married in May. So he's getting all the preparations ready and, whatever goes along with getting married. So it's a lot of work. And so he needs to focus on that. So here's the fro. You can see that it's still there. I didn't really cut it off. It seems like a lot of the people overseas thought that the fro had gone, but maybe they don't do April's Fools or whatnot. But we do over here. So with the show, what I'm trying to do with that, or what we're trying to accomplish, is to bring you, fun information, see us in certain shooting areas, like behind the scenes, backstage with bands, in dressing rooms, doing interviews, make it a little more formal, but still have that live feel when we're sitting there on our chairs talking about, leading into the segment. Like you saw last week's show, we did one take on each thing. If we made a mistake, we kept going. So it's still live, but it's taped. So let me look in the room for one quick second. What did you guys think about the show that ran last week throughout the week? I think it went up Tuesday, which was a really cool show. It had a lot of South by Southwest stuff. Anything? I know, I gotta worry about that delay thing. Let's see. I like the prepared stuff. Yeah, it was fun down there in South by Southwest. But what I'm looking to do is bring you more, like I said, behind the scenes stuff, but fun, informative stuff again. Cut into a show, because you got to remember that the majority of people aren't actually watching live each week. They're watching it taped because they can't make it at 12 p.m. Eastern time. So a lot of people, to them, it's like seeing the actual show. So if we were doing 10,000 people live, when we get to that point, then that's going to be an interesting thing to go live and do a show for 10,000 people. Let's see. All right, so as we move forward with the site, there's some interesting things in the work. I think everything's going really well, because I wanted to talk about that milestone that we hit. For the month of March, we hit 1 million page views just in the month of March, which is a pretty good feat, which is a good goal that we set, and we hit it in under 10 months. So we thank everybody out there for checking the pages and being in the forum and all of that stuff, because there's a lot of information out there. So that's good. The next major steps are there's a certain amount of views. We want to hit unique visits, but we keep growing, so that's a good thing. We want to keep going, and I think that our information is starting to really, really get get going, ramping it up with some really, really good information, whether it's Greg doing the Flash class stuff, or if I'm doing some beginner class stuff with the how to shoot in manual and all of that stuff. No juice box today, by the way. I got some water. So, I have this box sitting here, but before I get to the Canon box and what I want to go to from there, let's talk about, last week's show, or last week when we did the live chat, there was a lot of questions about what gear should I buy, what gear should I get next, what accessories should I buy, and the thing is, you guys we all had to master what we had before we moved on. You know, getting every little accessory that is out there isn't going to make you a better photographer or help you become better. It really starts all the way back at the basics with your framing, composition, and everything's going to fall into place after that. So it's all about shooting. The more you shoot, the more you're going to learn. So it's just, you got to be willing to play with your settings and go out and just shoot things and not worry about if you're going to miss or mess up. It's all about practice. You know, it's interesting. That's what college or school in photography is all about. The teachers give you assignments and you go out and you shoot. And if you mess it up, you mess it up. But it's all about learning and becoming a better photographer. And reading all that stuff last week definitely gave me the impression that I know which direction I want to go with one of the first books that I want to bring you guys. And that direction is really taking it all the way back to where I started as a photographer, not knowing anything. Shooting in auto, shooting in the sports mode on my camera because I didn't know any better. Sports mode is what I shot with when I was shooting sports because who knew? And then as I started to play around, I didn't have any teachers then. So when I was learning, I would try to figure, I couldn't figure everything out right away because again, shooting film, I had to shoot, then process, then figure out how I actually shot it, and then try to replicate something I did right or try to learn from something I did wrong. And the first understanding I ever got for shooting manual was when I was doing multiple exposures. What I would do is take a headshot of one of the baseball players and I'd get it ready for multiple exposure, meaning I had to take one picture and then wait until they did something else to take the second picture because the film wouldn't advance. Because I would tell it not to advance so that I could do a multiple exposure on the same frame. So the guy would be warming up to bat. I would take a headshot, which would fill the frame. And then they would go to bat, and I would take a second shot, which would then burn in them batting. So the double exposure, you had one chance to get it right. And what I saw when I processed or developed my pictures or had them developed was that the double exposures were overcooked. They were overexposed because I would shoot at the same shutter speed, the proper shutter speed twice, which means it would be overexposed by 2 times. So I had to learn that in order to compensate for that, if my shutter speed was 500th of a second and I was going to do 2 pictures, well then I had to do each one at 2/50th of a second to compensate for the amount of light that is going to hit the film twice. So yeah, photo lingo. So it's a learning experience. You have to play around. It's not going to come instantly. I've been shooting now for I think 17 years. 16, 17 years since I was 13 when I started shooting. And it took me, I'm going to say, probably 3 or 4 years to maybe 2 to 3 years to understand or to get that I shouldn't be in auto and it's time to try to learn on my own. And I think some people have the impression that you really need to move up really quick and you need to compete with everybody out there. And You have to learn everything right away, and the only way you're going to do that is if you buy the latest gear and the latest cameras and stuff like that. And I think a large portion of what this product or this book is going to be, and what the video as a part of the book is going to be, is talking about the very basics. If you do not understand the very basics up front, you're going to have to relearn everything as you move forward. So that's why the basics are really important. You know, starting with composition and understanding framing. Your settings are going to happen. They're going to come in time. And I can think back to when I first started shooting hockey, where the images were good, but the exposures were terrible. Meaning, I actually had good framing and good composition, but I didn't have the exposures right. I didn't know that. But if you train your eye first, I don't care if you shoot in auto and you're just playing and getting the framing and composition right. If that is what you're getting right, then you're a step above most people, because you're really doing a better job understanding your framing and composition. So that's why I look back at that and say it's great that I started in auto and trying, you know, I talk about this whole manual thing. Yeah, hockey is difficult. I know, Canadian, eh? So, you know, I can't wait to write this book, and as well as put videos together. I just have to sit down and do it and put it together for you guys. But I really think it's going to help out the very beginners, or even, you know, people that just picked up a camera and started shooting but really don't understand what's going on yet. There is going to be more advanced stuff. Like when I talked about manual this week, I guess you could consider that a little more advanced. So we'll move into that. So that video, let me look in the chat room. What'd you guys think of the manual video? It was like 7-8 minutes long. What did you think about the information in there? No, I don't use manual focus. Let me talk about manual focus real quick. I don't have a problem with people shooting manual. Sometimes I shoot manual when it comes to shooting macro, because I don't want to hunt. I don't want to hunt focus, so I switch to manual. But honestly, I have trouble manually focusing because I just have trouble focusing. My eyes are blurry to begin with, and when I don't wear glasses when I shoot because I like to see the full frame and put my eyes into the picture. I literally put my face right into the camera. I saw some people made some comments about my right eye looking straight up. I don't even use my right eye when I'm shooting because I'm left eye dominant, so that means that all I see when I'm focusing through the camera is out of my left eye. My right eye doesn't even see much because I'm not paying attention to it. I just saw somebody type in their aperture priority. Aperture priority is a really, really good setting to be in. It's one of those settings that you get in and you trust the camera for a while. And what's going to happen over time is you're going to learn that aperture priority is thrown off by light in the background or a bright sky or the lights up in the ceiling when you're shooting a concert. I'm going to write down something here to do more on concerts today. And it's really hot in here. It's like I'm going to actually open the window real quick. Let some fresh air in here. Yeah, it's a really nice day out, so I'm probably going to go kill the heat, open up some windows, and get Lil some fresh air because she needs some fresh air. Mystery shirt. Well, we'll get to mystery shirt later. You guys don't want to hear me. You probably saw all that information again. And I'm obviously wearing the orange shirt, and they're up for sale, pre-sale. But, information today, information. So shooting manual is one of those things that you can just do. It's going to take time to understand your settings. It's not something you're going to pick up overnight. You have to, play around with your settings. And shooting digital should be a great help to understanding things. So when it comes to shooting manual, you have your ISO, you have your shutter speed, and you have your f-stop. And they call it a triangle. Because if you do one thing to the f-stop, something's going to have to happen to your shutter speed to compensate for whatever you did. as you open up your aperture, you're letting more light in. So as you go from f8, which is a smaller aperture, to 2.8, look at that. Is there more? Do you see more of my face or less of my face? More, which means there's more light, more information coming through. When there's more information coming through, you're letting in more light. When there's more light, you have to have a slower shutter speed, a faster shutter speed to compensate for that rush of light that's coming in, or things are going to get overexposed. So everything it's a cause and effect. If you raise your ISO, what is going to happen? If you raise your aperture, what is going to happen? How about auto ISO? I can't believe I looked over right at that. Never, ever, 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 ever use auto ISO. There's no reason that you can't select your own ISO. Why? Because this is the reason why. You could be shooting a picture in bright sunny day at 200 ISO. All right? And your subject is backlit, or say that your subject's in a very interesting area. They're under a tree. So you went from being able to shoot at 200 ISO, and it sees your person under the tree, and it goes to 3200 ISO. The camera thinks because they're in the shade that it needs to bump it up to compensate. That's not good, because it's just, auto ISO is just bad. It's not, you can pick a better setting than what your camera is going to pick. And that's why I recommend not shooting auto ISO. You know, in certain situations that you need to have higher ISO over a lower ISO. But back to the whole manual thing. The best way to learn when you're shooting manual is to go to manual. Change one setting at a time and see what happens. If it's too dark, your picture, what does that mean? If you're just sitting around and you're shooting outside, you're just shooting a tree or a mailbox. If you take a picture and it's too dark, what can we do to our shutter speed in order to let more light in to compensate for that darkness? You're going to turn it down. You need to let more light in. So a slower shutter speed is going to leave the shutter open longer, which is going to let more light in to compensate for the darkness that you encountered. So if your shutter speed was too fast, you needed to slow it down, and it's going to make your image brighter. Let's read some of this stuff. Well, priority is basically, somebody just wrote priority, P mode. P mode is basically full auto. It's doing all the work for you. It's going to find the medium setting where it wants you to shoot, and that's about it. So, I try not to do that. Oh yeah, here, let's talk about trial and error while learning. That's the only way you're going to learn. If you stay in auto all the time and don't learn from it, you're not going to be able to get out of it. So when I did that video last week with Lil, or 2 weeks ago, I started in full auto. I took a picture, and then I looked at my settings and said, hey, my settings are this, this, and this. Well, that means that if I go to manual and set my settings to this, this, and this, it's going to be the exact same as if I was in auto. But how do you compensate? All I want to say is you play with that. What happens if you raise your shutter speed incrementally? Take a picture at every single increment. What happens if you lower it every single increment? See what happens. Just sit there and test it out and see what happens to your image. Same thing with aperture. Start at 2.8 if you have one of those, and then just go into aperture priority. See what happens as you dial your aperture up, or leave it in manual. See what happens as you dial your aperture up and you leave your shutter speed the same. Something is going to happen, but you have to start visualizing all of these things before you can really master it. And over time you start to get a feel for what your settings should be. And that's why when somebody asked, well, how do you know if you're shooting manual when you should change your shutter speed, or when you should change your aperture if you're not going to let the camera do it? This is what I say. When I'm shooting manual and the light gets brighter, the sun comes out, what do you do if the sun comes out? Well, the first thing I can do, I could up my shutter speed to compensate for the extra brightness, because if it's too bright and I have a slow shutter speed, you're letting too much light in. If you let too much light in, your picture's going to come out dark. So the first line of defense when it gets brighter, I mean, you can look through the camera and go, oh, the sun just came out from behind a cloud. I need to do something. Flick your shutter speed up higher, dial it up. And from that point, you're going to see what's going to happen. You could look at the meter inside. The needle's going to go up or down. You want to get it in the middle most of the time. That's going to give you a pretty good starting point. I'm going to drink some water. Getting more creative. Here, all right. I'll sidestep for a second for something I read. Somebody said something about is 2.8 the same on a crop sensor as it is on a FX sensor. I don't get over technical with overthinking this stuff. I know that people say the bokeh is different from DX to FX because of the size of the sensor and all of that good stuff. Don't worry about it. I don't worry about it because it doesn't affect the end result, and the end result is the picture that you're capturing. A 2.8 is going to be a 2.8, and that also means when somebody's shooting DX or FX, when I say full frame printing, like in those Adorama books that I print full frame is the same on DX as it is on FX. It's still the same ratio. It's the 2:3 ratio. So 4:6, 8:12, 12:18, 24:36, whatever works in those 2:3 increments. Well, another question in the room. Why do I think the D90 over the 3100? Well, because it was a good sensor. That D90 had a good sensor. It's a more professional feeling body. I know it's probably about the same price as the kit, but again, when you're starting out, don't worry so much about the gear. Like I said, my very first camera was a Canon EOS Elan because I didn't know any better. That's what I was pushed to when I went and I shot. That's what when I went to the camera store. That's what they sold me because I was looking for somebody like me now to really guide me, and that didn't happen for a few years. But get what you have. Stick with your camera on your 5-year plan, and when something new comes out, there is no reason to go and buy it. If you're learning, you have to learn with what you have. And with that said, there's nothing wrong with buying a used body and just learning. Because I've really, when I've sat down to think about where I started, and it's hard after 16 years of, to think back to how I began, and then just realizing that I didn't know very much when I started, but I played around with my settings, and it took time to get to where I was going. I had to think back to what did I do back then in order to teach myself and learn, because I really did teach myself for the first 2.5, 3 years of shooting until I got to high school and had some cool teachers. So I had to figure out things on my own. And like I said, I stayed in sports mode for a long time. And what I concentrated on, because I was afraid to get out of it because I didn't understand manual or anything, was I focused on getting my images right, composition-wise. Composition, framing, and capturing the moment was the most important. And that I would rather see somebody try to get into manual, or sorry, I would rather see somebody get the wrong exposure, give me a dark picture if it's in focus and the composition is right, but the only thing that is wrong is the exposure. Because you know what? If you can get your composition and capturing the moment right, then the exposure is going to happen later. Don't fret too much over missing your exposures. So yeah, I do say glass first, but honestly, if you're starting out, start with one lens. Don't sit here and go, oh, I need to have every accessory in the bag. That 35-1.8 or a 50-1.8 on Canon side, Those lenses, that's a lens you start with, and you do not take off the camera for months. For no, for 6 months, you take it down to the very basics, body and lens. And if you're even if you stayed in full auto, even if you shoot JPEG at the beginning, I still would prefer that everybody shoots RAW. But if you're just in the learning phase and you're just shooting pictures and understanding what you're doing wrong, then that's the way to start. 35-1.8, 50-1.8, one lens. Force yourself to learn. You force yourself to get the composition right. And I know I've been going on and on about this for a while. You want to shoot manual in every aspect. Well, I already said why I don't use manual focus, because 9 out of 10 times I'm out of focus because my eyes are blurry. But also, we have autofocus, so when I'm shooting certain subjects, I want to use autofocus because there's no way that I could personally track them. I know back in the day they would track sports and athletes in manual. They would anticipate where the subject was going to be and pre-focus, and some guys could actually track it. But we have autofocus nowadays, and that brings us into something else. And where did I want to go with that? Yeah. So I hope the manual discussion helps a little bit, or gives you guys a little insight into where this first book is going to go. I will get technical at times just to help you understand what you can do to learn. But you know what? The first book that's going to be out is going to really be the basics of understanding, seeing in light, and that's what it's going to be about. It may not even get into the technical aspects of your camera. It may just be go shoot, use a cell phone camera if you have it, use whatever you want. Yeah, and I guess I need to stop being so harsh on kit lenses, right? If I say just start with what you have, because whatever you have is what you have, and stick with it. Metering, yeah, that's a thing you're gonna get to in the future. But what I want to talk about is caught a little bit of flack for the whole chimping thing. And chimping is you take a picture, you look at the back of the screen. And I know that it's not the most accurate way of telling if your exposure is right or if your exposure is not right. But the mentality that I've had to get out of myself, and this is sort of a rant that I may even go on and film and do later, is that I used to think it was really important to shoot film. I still think it's important for photographers to have shot film and understand what it was like to shoot 36 frames, to go process your own files, to go develop your own negatives and all of that. But you know what? Times change, and a lot of people don't have access to learning film, or don't need to, because they don't even sell film. They don't make new film cameras anymore. So I've come to the realization that I have to get out of that mentality that if you didn't shoot film, you're always going to be a step behind. Because nowadays, with the tools that your cameras offer you, is you can still learn from your camera. You have the ability to take a picture and learn from your settings quicker than anything we ever did with film. A lot of people wrote down their settings for every picture they took so that they could try to get it right later. What I check when I am chimping, and you want to come up with a new word, we'll call it like froing. When you're froing with the back, you're looking at the back of your camera, so we're going to fro. We're looking at the back of the camera. What are we doing, everybody in the chat room? When you look at the back of the camera, what are we doing? Yep, we're froing. So when you're froing, we should start spreading that word. What I'm looking for when I'm froing is I'm looking for, first things first, composition. Second, when I know that my exposure is right, we'll go with exposure. So I lock my exposure in, and when I say lock it in, it means that I'm exposing my frame to where I want it. It means I've taken some test shots, I've guessed my lighting situations, because a lot of times when I'm out shooting is I literally guess my first setting. I walk into the situation, I go, all right, it's a little dark, I'm going to be at 2500 ISO, 1600 ISO at 1/25th of a second at 2.8, and that's my starting point. And I look and I go, all right, where should I go from here? Now, the screens aren't the most accurate, but but they are a good starting point. I don't talk about the histogram. Greg talks about the histogram. We know that. He's big into the histogram, and I personally not a big histogram fan, because when I'm shooting in low light situations, in very dark areas, I've got one little spike. Hold on, let me get my finger in the screen. One little spike on the left-hand side, meaning that it's really, really underexposed. But that doesn't tell me anything when I am shooting. With my style, that doesn't mean that, a histogram, when you read it, and technically if there's a spike right in the middle, it means that your frame is exposed properly, or it's giving you the average exposure. But that can be thrown off by a bright light in the background, the sky in the background. And if you're always looking at that, then you're just looking at zeros and ones, and you're being technical instead of visual. And I'm more visual than technical. That may work for other people, but when I hear look at the histo, and I see, what is this? Yeah, I'll get to that too. I was looking at the room. When I see that, the histogram has these multiple spikes, and I look at it and I see that, what? I have detail where I want to have detail, and the image looks exposed where I want it. And again, I shoot raw, and I don't say that raw is the answer or the reason that you should get your exposures wrong. But again, I'm not over technical. I get close. I get damn close with my exposures, and then make my tweaks to correct, to process and develop the file the way that I want to. So, all right, back to Froing. When you're Froing, the first thing I said that I'm looking for is my exposure, and I lock that in, meaning I get it set, and then as light changes, I make changes to it. What I'm looking at next is composition. If I'm looking to see, I check the edges of my frames. A lot of times when I'm shooting, I am looking left, up, down, left, right, BA, 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 select, start. I am looking at that area to make sure that I'm not cutting off anything important. Am I cutting off the person's head? Am I cutting off a finger? Is there a branch sticking out of the corner that is just going to take away from the composition of my photo? So I am looking at all these things sometimes before I take the picture, but sometimes you don't see it. So when I'm Froing and looking at the back of the camera, I'm seeing that my composition is on. Next, I hit the center button in my D3 because I have that set to zoom in to what, like 1:1 or something, or medium, because there's zoom in partially, which is small, medium, and then all the way in. I do it medium, and I zoom in right on the eye or right on the focus of my picture, or where my focus should be, to make sure that I am tack sharp. If I'm tack sharp and I captured the image the way that I wanted it, I don't keep shooting that same image. I will move along, I will recompose. Again, that's another thing, because I don't crop, I'm shooting multiple frames but at different compositions to give myself a full image to work with in the future. Let's see. I was just reading some stuff in the room. So when I'm Froing, my main things are exposure, composition, and focus. That's what I'm looking for. Now, I do not advocate taking a picture and looking at it. Taking a picture and looking at it. You're going to miss the shots that are happening because you're reviewing things. Force yourself. I know it's difficult because we do it all the time. Like, I've done it at weddings where I've missed kisses because I'm checking focus and checking exposure. That's stuff that you should have ready to go before that situation happens. You have to trust your settings and trust what you do, and don't be far off. That meter inside, some of you will have it down here at the bottom of your camera, the meter. There's a plus, there's a minus. Some of you will have it up here, hold on, right here on the corner. Yeah, I know it's difficult to stop chimping, but you really have to force yourself. When the light is changing, you'll see your meter move. You'll see things go up and down. And if it's down, in my case, it's telling me that it's going to be underexposed. If it's over, it's going to be overexposed. There's too much light. The middle gives you a basic reading. What you're going to have to understand and start to figure out is that if your meter is being lied to, or your meter is wrong because there's a really bright light in the background, then you just got to know that you can't listen to it, and you have to get a feel for the situation. Photography and most professions it's a feel for the situation you're in. You just have to anticipate it and feel what's going on in order to really get a good understanding of what you're shooting. So that's Froing, looking at the back of the camera. You know, I wait till a stop in action sometimes to take a look, but really, the main thing that I'm looking for is my composition, my focus, and my exposure should be about right, because the lighting is pretty, you know, if it's not changing, it's going to be about the same. So who says I should open up this Canon box and see what's in it? Because I haven't opened it. I don't even know what they sent yet. What do you use, A or S mode? I'm going to open it. Okay, I saw one question. What do I use when I'm shooting sports? Do I use aperture priority or do I use shutter priority? I rarely ever go into shutter priority. When I first started, I thought I wanted to be in that because it kept my shutter speed in the right place. But now, aperture priority because I want to control that depth of field. Oh, jeez. Here's the box. It is not open. It is not open. Hey, before I open, you see the orange shirt. It is up on the store, but what shirt do you want to see next? You know, it's funny. A lot of these are going to the Netherlands because and the Dutch. They love their orange. I think that's their soccer team's colors. So, you know, they like it. Tie-dye. Ooh. New designs are in the works. I want to work on an app. I just have to find the right person. Lime green, baby blue, camo. The camo is interesting. So here, let's open up this box that came from Canon. This came a couple days ago and I actually haven't opened it. I've just been sitting around. Well, no, I've been working on stuff. Put my scissors down. It's just paper. What's this? It's a Rebel T3i. So that's one thing. Hey, look, Meowgie just came up. Oh, and then there's this. Hold on. Meowgie, what are you doing, buddy? He's in the window. This is a 16 to 35, but is it? Yep, version 2. Nope, 16 to 35, version 2. What do we think? Kitty, you want to get in on this? Oh. Yeah, so I got an email the other week from Canon, and they asked if I wanted to play with the T3i, and I said, sure, why not? Kitty, come here. Meowgie, say hello to everybody. Oh, Meowgie went away. He's enjoying the window. Oh, he's running. I opened him the window, so he wants to sit in the window. So that's the T3i. This is a 16 to 35. This is a really version 2. This is a very good lens for you Canon shooters. Well, I asked for good glass, you know. I don't know, you know, are T3i owners in the question was, are T3i owners in the market for glass like this? No, not usually, but you know what? It's a good lens. It's one of the widest, sharper lenses that they have. It's better than, well, they don't have a 14 2.8 yet, 14 to 24 that is, like Nikon. Be really good. I mean, this is a very wide lens. It's a very good lens. DX, it's, you know, not as, how long do you keep these? I don't know. I keep them like 3 weeks or so. Yeah, I think I keep these for about 3 weeks. But no, what I said to Canon and all you guys who are Canon shooters, I said in order to give these reviews, honest and fair reviews, I really need some glass. I need some things other than the kit lenses. I should just go to Allen and buy my own 50 1.8 for Canon so that I can just use it and use one lens and just use it. But you know, you need to really learn. I need to just shoot this stuff and force myself to use it so I can review it for you guys. I mean, you know that I'm a Nikon shooter and that's what I like, but it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the Canons. It's personal preference, and they all, you know, fair reviews are fair reviews. So let me get to my list, and we'll end all of this with questions from you guys. So we unboxed the Canon. We did all that. The mystery shirt. Anybody want to hear about the mystery shirt? Whirly bird time. Thank you. Oh yeah, Ari's out and about today also. What do you want to know about the shirt? You know what's cool? Well, I'm not going to tell you what the mystery shirt is, of course, because it's still up for pre-sale for those guys for those people that want to get it. Before I announce what it is, and that's why it's at a discounted price right now for you people that want to take that chance on the mystery shirt. But it is a really cool design. It's a really cool thing that's going on with it. Wanted to try something new, and a lot of people have taken it. And also, if you go for it and you go for the pre-sale, you're going to get a 4x6 signed, numbered in the order that you purchased your pre-sale, glossy photograph of the actual logo design or whatever design is on it. So yeah, that's pretty cool too to get that. What means pre-sale? Well, pre-sale means that it's pre-sale. It means that there's a period where you're pre-buying and then they get shipped starting on a certain date. Let's see. Canon sent me this camera. Nikon sends me other cameras, but remember, they don't give us stuff for free. Everything has to go back. They don't give us free cameras. I have zero light on my face right now. There is no... this is all natural light coming in from outside the window. It's a very nice day out. All right, here we go. Let's go into something else. I'm just reading some of the questions. What's not a face fan? Yeah, it's about 61 today in PA. Yeah, transparent shirt. We should do the mesh 1990s shirt. Yeah, Fro hockey jersey would be nice. We're working on baseball jerseys. Well, the pre-shirt, if you watch the video, the pre-sale ends on like the 9th, and I then show you the new shirt then. Duo, what's in my bag? And then we're going to move on. Let's see, what is in my bag? I'll grab this because it's close by. This is a Firewire 800 card reader, compact flash SanDisk that I use in my computers because it is fast. Now, with that being said, we need some Thunderbolt action to come out quickly for everybody so we can all get Thunderbolt and move at really fast speeds, like 5 gigabytes a second. You have the same chair. Thank you. It's normally what's in my bag. No, Thunderbolt's just a whole new thing. Yeah, I think you can expect price increases from everybody across the board. Like, you can even... prices on t-shirts have gone up because Pakistan and all those countries overseas got flooded, had terrible floods this year, and people are hoarding cotton because we don't actually grow cotton in the U.S. anymore, which was surprising to me. And yeah, that's terrible because prices have all gone up 5 to 20% on shirt materials. We are out of red shirts. They were sold out. So before, I don't want to get into questions yet, because a lot of the questions that come in are what should I buy, what should I buy, what should I buy. A lot of it is you should stick with what you have and learn it first. Master what you have, then move forward, and then you'll realize that actually most of the accessories aren't needed. So. How are we doing on time? Let's take some... mystery shirt sizes are in 2 and 3X. Geo. So you can get those in 2 or 3X. They're in the store. Yeah, I see. Stop saying raw singlet. There's no need... I read it. Well, there... Fill flash for concerts? Nope. I don't use flash at concerts. I just don't like it. The only time that I've used flash is with a Q flash that Greg set up, and we got to set it up on an angle. I still shot it at 4000 ISO because it gave a nice thick dimension, and it didn't look like I was using flash because it wasn't straight on. We clamped it to a bar, like a pole somewhere, and you can do that stuff if you have access to the band. Then you can start playing around with stuff like that. We always use fill flash for wedding during the inside stuff. We set up some wireless flashes and trigger them with the speed light system, and that adds a lot of dimension to the photos, which makes them even better. Yeah, the Japan disaster is going to make it harder, we think, to get gear. It's just there's a lot going on over there that's more important than the camera equipment. So I'm going to venture to say that a lot of equipment from Nikon and Canon, more so Nikon, is going to be delayed because Canon's bigger and they have more factories in other places. For you ladies in the room, did you see the new ladies' shirts? Well, there's the new colors up, the black and then the hot pink. They'll just say I shoot raw across it like the other ones. What is the first photo I ever took? Well, with a point and shoot camera, the first photo I ever took was pretty much a basketball picture. All right. So somebody just said they tried talking to me on Skype and I didn't answer. I get a ton of Skype messages, and during the day and during the week, I'm doing a lot of work. Sometimes I'm not here and it's on, so if I don't answer, I try to get back, but I can't always get to all the questions. Hi, Argentina. Yeah, so I can't always get to all the questions. I mean, I try to answer phone calls. That's why I started doing the Skype rapid fire, and that's why it's only 2 minutes on the Skype rapid fire, is because I want to go through as many people as possible and answer their questions and concerns and things like that. I do not carry around a point and shoot. I'm not a big fan of shooting with a point and shoot, but if I'm not shooting pictures, I don't take my camera with me, so I usually don't want to shoot with less. I rather shoot with the best of the best that I have. Mexico. Good question, I think. How do you get focus on somebody's eyes if they are not in the focusing point? You put them in the focusing point. You just have to work your composition. You have to either pull back or zoom in, and or if it's a portrait, you lock in. You could leave it in the center and be in single focus, lock in on the person's eye and recompose. But remember, if you move forward, if you move back, and if you move off that axis that you were focused in, then you may miss your focus if you're very shallow. What I do is I compose, focus and recompose, focus, recompose. That's why I hear the beep, because the beep tells me that it's in focus, because I have trouble trouble seeing the focus. No, I don't bring a camera everywhere I go. I don't like taking a camera everywhere I go, because I just sometimes don't want to shoot, and I don't just always want to shoot things. That's just how that is. Let's see. So we did the Canon. We talked about shooting manual. We talked about chimping. Talked about the new shirts, accessories. I put down here for concerts and stuff. Yeah, we talked about, Froing. Let me cross that out. Let me cross that out and say Froing. Get rid of that C word. And I can't even find it. So let's go over that Froing thing again. So when you guys are spreading the word about that, Froing, what's the important part of Froing? Composition and focus. Composition and focus are the important things about Froing. The C word, chimping, is about checking to see if all your pictures are there. Looking and looking. That's why we're not doing that. We're doing better than that. We compose, check our composition, we check our focus. You get your exposures where you want them to be. Froing. It's more of a professional way of doing it, to fro. So I should write that down to make a video about Froing. So, how are we doing today? You guys alright? Did we do some good stuff here? So hopefully next week we may be back to the old, the maybe live, maybe a little bit of taped with a little bit of live. Yeah, we're gonna try and spice it up a little bit, and we're in it for the long haul. So we got to find what works the best for us to bring you the best information in what format. So we're still working on all of that. Let's see. The tape show. Well, the tape show, this is going to be considered the tape show today. Somebody asked, when's it going to air? Well, it's probably going to be up for tomorrow, for Monday. Still deciding that if we start doing shows again Sunday that are live, I may then say that we may switch the replay to the shows to sometime on Tuesday or Wednesday, to give us time to edit and make the show clean, and I'm not rushing through Sunday, and my whole Sunday is spent transferring tape and all of that. So that's about it. No, the only book that there is about is the Guide to Capturing Motion at Concerts is what's there right now. Oh, I'm definitely going to be doing more sports stuff. I can see doing a whole thing on baseball, being outside and shooting. Probably we'll go do some golf. And maybe that will be, we'll do dedicated shows just to those things. How do I generally distribute photos to my clients? FTP server. I upload it to there, let them download it and do whatever they want. What's a fun button? Function button? I don't know. Yeah, I always dedicate videos to low light buttons. Functions, FTP is something protocol. It's it's how I transfer the files. It's basically like a storage. I upload to my server, and you can store files there. and then I let people download the files. So here is the link to the new shirts and the mystery shirt if you guys want to pick it up. The new girls stuff is up there. The new girls shirts. I am not with GoDaddy. We have our own dedicated server on a different company. We just upgraded to a bigger server so that we could handle the growing traffic and keep the site really, really, really fast. Thanks, Wannabe Photographer, for purchasing one of those yesterday. Yeah, a lot of people have ordered the mystery shirt. Hot pink for Mandy Patty. I don't know, is she here? Yeah, oh yeah, I need to do a review of Rock Prophecies. Well, we're going to do something different than what Gavin does. Gavin does a 15-minute shoot. That's cool. We've done different shoots. You know, you've seen the things we did with Sinai, and I worked with Matisyahu the other night. But yeah, the documentary, the Rock Prophecies, is a really, really good thing to watch. Yes, you can have assignments. One step at a time. We're trying to not overwhelm ourselves here with extra work. We're trying to, find the right workflow so that we can bring you stuff, a lot of stuff. So yeah, the raw file of the week is really cool. We're gonna have more of that stuff coming out. And also, I'm getting some prints. Oh, I did the Nick filters. What did I get? The color effect. No, what do they call that thing? Silver Effects 2 for black and white. I'm testing it out right now. Anybody have Silver Effects? It's interesting. I recorded a video where I redid the photo of Nick from Nick and Walt from South by Southwest. So I'm still using it. I'm testing it out. I'm not a big fan of having to edit every single photo and take it to the extreme, but that's just me. Some people like taking it to the extreme. So with the Rock Prophecies, I'm definitely going to do a review of that, and maybe I'll call Robert and set up a Skype call with him so that we could talk about Rock Prophecies and see how everything's going. I know that his mother did just pass away, unfortunately, but that's what happens, unfortunately. But he did. We spoke about that because I saw him in South by Southwest, and he was going to the funeral for his mother as soon as South by Southwest was over. Review on all the filters. And what I found interesting in Silver Effects Pro 2, I saw it was interesting that you can pick old types of film. And I saw that my contrast did something interesting, and I talked about that in the video that he did, which I may put up this week. So we're really getting to the end. Any other quick questions in here? Like I said, we're gonna try and get back to the show format, and we're trying to find the right format that works for us, the right location, the right way to get these videos up and running. And I will really give you homework. If you guys want to do homework, I'll throw something out there. Being that it's getting nicer out, and all that good stuff, it's tough to give an assignment, but nicer out. Let's look for things. We're going to go with outdoor shooting. Let's try outdoor portraits with nice, that bring up spring. So portraits that have spring themes to them, and submit them to the FroKnowsPhoto at gmail.com, but only send in one raw file. But if you want, you guys can also post your photos to the Facebook page, which is, Facebook.com/FroKnowsPhoto, and be sure to like the page because, I'm going to be giving away some Adorama prints. They've given me some free stuff to give to you guys. So I'm going to turn around and give you guys some free prints if you're in the U.S. because they don't ship out of the U.S. So make sure that if you are in the U.S. and you're posting on the fan page, the Facebook fan page, and also in the forum, if you're posting the photos in the forum and on the Facebook page. I go through there, and they may just start giving some people some free prints just for posting some really cool photos that I like. So how's that sound? I'm not a post-crop vignetting person. I'm not a, I don't do a lot of major edits to most of my stuff, and you guys should know that by now. No, I'm not coming to Mexico. New York City, think of Blog World Expo. Coming up for Blog World Expo. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching again. We're going to try to be back to the other format or figure out what works. We want to, obviously we're trying to figure out what works and what's best to bring for shows. So that's why we may do every other week throughout a month, because that will give us time to not perfect it, but get better information, do those longer photo shoots that you guys want to see during a show, and go from there. So thank you guys for watching. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and we're in the shipping department, and as you can see, the shelves have been almost emptied from the big sale we did, the spring clearance sale, so that we could bring you new and cool stuff. So I'm wearing a trench coat because I'm about to show you the new I Shoot Raw color t-shirt. Are you ready? All right, here we go. All right, there it is. The orange I Shoot Raw t-shirt. I think most people out there said they wanted to see orange, so there it is. I'll probably come out with some other colors in the not too distant future, but right now I really like the orange, and I think you guys will too. So they are up for pre-sale right now. Also, I'm introducing 2 new girls colors. They're the same style shirt as before, so it's one of these girl shirts, which are really awesome. They look really good, especially on Lorraine Lobdell, Miss Black Rapid. She looks great in this, and everybody else who put up their photos wearing those. 2 new colors for girls. Actually, one's not really a color, it's black. Black with white, because many girls were like, we want to wear the black one. And then I've got hot pink. So those are available in the store as well. And then, right after this, I have the mystery shirt and a mystery item for you. All right, I'm back with the trench coat on again because I have the mystery shirt on. Do you want to see the mystery shirt? Well, you're going to have to wait a little bit. I'm going to reveal the mystery shirt on the date below, but right now, let me tell you about the mystery shirt. It is a white shirt, and it is not an I Shoot Raw. So what I think will be something fun and interesting to do is to put up a mystery pre-sale for this special limited edition t-shirt. What I'm going to do is give you a discount if you pre-order this shirt. And here are the dates. Once the pre-sale is over, you're not going to get the discount, and I'm also throwing in there a 4x6 photograph. It's a printout of the design of the t-shirt that's going to be signed and numbered, and we don't know how many the numbers are going to be out of yet because it's all determined by the pre-sale. So if you order first, you are going to get number 1 of however many we pre-sale for this week in the dates below. So I think it's something pretty cool to try. We've put out some really cool shirts so far, and this shirt is, well, another really cool shirt. Everybody I've shown it to wants it, and yeah, it's cool. And if you find in this scene, this frame right now, there's something hidden that really gives away exactly what the new shirt, the new mystery shirt, is all about. If you figure that out, or you think you know, send an email to fro@FroKnowsPhoto.com with mystery shirt in the subject line. if you can figure out what that hidden thing is, you may be getting yourself a free white mystery shirt. So again, it's a white mystery shirt with a cool design, and it's not I Shoot Raw. So guys, good luck trying to figure that out. And so that's about it. Good luck, and thank you all very much. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.